Thank you for joining us. This is Strictly Business. On the program today, we're getting into issues of synergies between local investors and foreign investors. What did the EU bring out when it comes to maximizing on this? We also have a sit-down on Chat Focus with the Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry. He tells us the manufacturing industry is poised to improve packaging and the manufacturing industry to make sure that everything looks good, not only in Zambia, but for outside export as well. We talk issues of the data center in the digital transformation age. Where do these data centers sit in this radar? More on Strictly Business. This is Strictly Business. My name is Judyngulube. We start off getting to the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry. A lot of exciting stuff happening in that, sphere, especially that the EU-Zambia Economic Forum, the very first one just ended, and there are a lot of deals that are being signed and are being implemented that have stemmed from that economic forum. But to push it further, how is the manufacturing industry performing when it comes to packaging? And how is Zambia maximizing on these synergies between local investors and foreign investors? I sat down with CHIPOKA MULENGA, the Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry.
In the past, Zambia has always had interaction with the European Union, but not in a more structured manner than we are seeing right now. We have the European Union ambassador resident in Zambia, who is the head of the delegation of the different European Union member countries that are resident here. And individually, Zambia has always had bilateral engagements with individual European countries. And we've tried to advance our agenda of development in many facets of life, be it in the education system, the health sector, the mining sector, trade and investment, among many others. But from inception of the New Dawn government and the hope that the Chief Investment Officer himself, Marketing Officer himself, the President, has given to the world to attract investment with sound policy guidance, our focus is to have a private sector-driven economy. In the recent past, you will agree with me, Zambian entrepreneurs had no voice, had no platform where they could be heard, where they could practice their entrepreneurial skills and grow their business portfolio. We need to develop this country, but how do we develop this country? We need the locals to be involved, fully involved in the agenda of development. So me, myself, as minister responsible for the economy and investment in this country, the mandate I've been given by cabinet through the head of state is that bring investment. But as you bring investment, no Zambian should be left behind. They should be a part of it. It's either Zambians themselves are at the center of it or they partner. Or we have joint ventures.
Ensure that, the locals are in the center or partnering with foreign investors. Will it deal with the issue of biting more than we can chew in regards to taking steps, baby steps, then into, means to the ends?
Judy, as Zambians, we should not be scared to be very ambitious and to conquer what is big and great. Yes, somebody may say, we are going against, or we are trying to get a bigger pie than we can afford to chew. Definitely not true. Look, anything that is new will baffle people. But the leadership that brings it have the responsibility and mandate to explain to the people. And that's where we are coming in.
How is your ministry working policy-wise regards to value addition? Because I know all these entities have value addition at the core of their mandates and their missions. So value addition, not only value addition, but how is the service, the packaging of the product being done so that what you talked about earlier, the international market also appreciates, as well as the local market, because I also want to get into a local store and buy something that's nice and it's Zambian.
Quality is critical. Zambia does almost everything. We produce all the products. These are confectionery products and a few others. But we find ourselves limited only to the local market. We can't compete just within the region, even within the region, later on across the world. Why? The quality in service delivery, the quality in packaging, the quality in production of the goods. Our focus, three things that we've spoken about: quality, timely delivery, and right price.
Is the manufacturing industry coming through for us? Factories,
Big time.
appropriate packaging.
Big time.
The infrastructure is there.
And this is what we are setting up. We lack the infrastructure. Look, infrastructure, I'll tell you something. For a very long time, this country was misguided in believing that infrastructure is putting roads throughout, just in our residential compounds and the rest of them. You can't borrow and spend on something that will not give back. Roads are good. But the question is, where are you prioritizing the putting of the roads? We need to take roads in places that will set up industries that will repair themselves. And this is our focus. Listen to the Minister of Infrastructure, Honorable Milopi. His priorities of the roads. Others are even saying that he's neglecting other areas. No. We're trying to set up industries, manufacturing sectors, that even when they set up, they can repay the loans themselves without increasing your tax.
You're still watching Strictly Business. Up next, in our biztainment segment, we're looking at something very interesting, the theatre industry. Now, the arts are broad. There's visual arts, there's movies, but theatre, to be specific, how broad is it in Zambia? What is it contributing to the arts sector in the sector in terms of economy? And when broadly putting it, what is it putting in terms of revenue? As of a few years ago, the theatre industry was contributing 0.95%. Now, how can this be maximized? And how much revenue can we get from this? I have a theatre artist in studio with me, YOMBWE COSMAS, and he is going to be telling us more about what's happening in the theatre industry and how we can broaden that 0.95%. How are you? Thank you so much for coming through to Strictly Business.
Please, thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate.
Please.
From the voice, I can tell how much command you entail when you're on stage in theatre, is it?
Well, I don't just have the voice for theatre. I also have the energy.
Appreciate.
Yes, to give you a good performance.
How much are you extending that energy into a sector that has so much creativity, and people talk about it as, you know, the foundation or the bedrock of what is being extended into the movies? Because they talk about, if you are a performing artist in theatre, it's very easy to make it like that in the movie industry. And we see the movie industry boosting in our country.
Yes. Well, I'll start by saying the theatre industry is really, you know, helping a lot of artists, you know, like to find it easy in film. And like I put it earlier when I said I put up a lot of energy. You know, theatre is somewhat different with a screen, with movie, because with theatre you're actually live with the audience, unlike TV, because with movies, when you are being watched, you would have taken quite a number of maybe shots just to put up something straight.
Okay.
Yeah, but really theatre is really booming in the country.
All right. Well, and performance-wise, the platforms for performing theatre, are they translating to, you know, the revenue that we are seeing that can be contributed to the arts?
Well, that can be done for as long as we keep a lot of theatre houses, or all theatre houses, active. Currently, you get to have a theatre house maybe producing 2 or 3 plays in the whole year, you know. One theatre house I'll tell you that has been so active is Chingola Arts Society. Chingola Arts Society, I think they produce plays maybe even on a monthly basis, which is unlike other theatre houses. So if we deliberately had a system that would make sure that each and every theatre production house, not just the theatre clubs, but also the theatre houses, broaden it out to even those in places like Matero, you know, Matero Arts Theatre, Taguamo, you know, and to mention just a few. If we all had them participating, definitely we'll have the industry really putting in something in the towards the economy.
I know you're going to run to what's going to be happening on the 3rd and 4th. Apart from the last steps performance that's going to be happening early in this coming month.
Yes.
What else is?
Well, I'll say support. You know, we really need to support one another. You know, if we're putting up a show, you know, not just supporting as, you know, coming to watch, also the marketing aspect, you know, the directing aspect. You know, what you would direct would not be the same thing I'll direct, as in it to not be similar. You know, you may have other ideas of how to direct a production, you know, but mostly we really need to market ourselves. We really need to put ourselves back on the map, because as you are aware, the COVID period, during the pandemic time, most theater houses were shut down. You know, public places were shut down, so we were also affected. So this is about the time that we're trying to get back. We've had a few productions at Lusaka Theatre Club in the recent past, from the post-COVID era. Also, Kitwe has been performing Chingola, like I mentioned, has been busy. Mofurila has also been busy. So now...
How many plays does Lusaka Theatre Club, Lusaka Theatre House, produce, let's say, in a space of 6 months?
Well...
On a time when there's no COVID, an ideal situation?
Okay. Just the theatre club itself, we're able to have plays even, not Lusaka Playhouse, but theatre houses coming in to perform at the theatre club. We'll have plays even 2 or 3 times every month.
If you had to have an opportunity to sit with the policy makers who are in the arts, and there's so much energy going on in that ministry.
Yes. I wouldn't want to preempt, because I know people are already sitting, not just to look at the theatre policy, but also the people sitting doing the film policy. Yeah, so I wouldn't want to start talking about that.
We'll wait for that one then.
Please.
We'll wait for that one then.
Let's wait for that, and then we get to talk about it. But for now, like you have mentioned, we have the last steps. Yeah, it's a 2-man act. You know, it's a play that talks about the death penalty. So we're trying to provoke the situation in the country. As you know, art, or maybe I say theatre, it's to educate, entertain, and also to inform and communicate at the same time. So we're deliberately trying to provoke the situation in the country. You know, do we still need the death penalty? Yeah, so deliberately we'll be putting up this show. Of course, it's also on a business part for us. We'll be putting up this show. I'm one of the characters in the play, and we'll also have Amalala Hamalala. And we'll be performing at Lusaka Theatre Club on the 3rd and 4th, like you mentioned. The following week we'll be in Ndola at Lowentho, which will be the 11th. And then on the 12th we'll be in Kitwe at Kitwe Little Theatre. We go on Chingola at Chingola Arts, and also Mofurela.
The most interesting part about that 2-man act, definitely looking forward to that.
2 hours of 2-man act, and it's thought-provoking. There's too much energy in that play, you know. For 2 hours, you just have 2 hours.
With 2 men. Definitely looking forward to that one. Thank you so much for coming through.
Please, thank you so much, Judy.
All right. This is Strictly Business. We are in the information age. You cannot talk about the information age minus ICT. But when you get into the depth of ICT, the core, the foundation are data centers. Let's get to understand more about how these data centers are the foundation of digital transformation.
Data centers are the nerve center of the digital economy. When we talk of the digital economy, we are looking at all socio-economic activities being taken digital. Today, as you can see, we have seen most of the business to consumers, government to consumer transactions, they've gone digital. And with that comes reliancy. It now becomes important that these services, these systems are accessible 24/7, because they basically run the business. So digital infrastructure comes into play in that data centers, which are the cornerstone or the nerve centers of the digital economy, they actually become the cornerstone of these systems. Why are they critical? They become critical because it means that all businesses which have to run, availability of services becomes very critical. And for data centers, we are talking availability of critical workloads that should not go anything below 99.99%, because that is where businesses are now driven. We've seen this with education. COVID has taught us one thing: education can go electronic. We've seen smart education. We've seen even agriculture. We've seen adoption of digital technologies in agriculture. Government processes have also gone to rely on digital technology platforms. Private sector businesses, most SMEs, they've actually transformed to adopt online channels in the way that businesses are conducted. And all that is anchored on data centers. At Infratel, we have 3 data centers that provide resilience and reliance for businesses to ensure that their critical workloads continue to run 24/7 whilst they meet the customer satisfaction levels that are required for their businesses. Data centers are purpose-built infrastructure. They come with technical capabilities that are optimized to ensure that that 100% availability and resilience is provided. So we're talking of optimized power and cooling components. Redundancy comes into play. Everything that we have at data centers comes with redundancy, so that when one fails, the other component is able to continually provide the services that are required for our customers. So redundancy. Beyond that, geographical redundancy is also key for data centers. And at Infratel, we come out of the box with 3 data centers that offer that geographical redundancy. We have 2 data centers in Lusaka. The 3rd one is in Kitwe. All of them are interconnected. Again, interconnectedness becomes a critical attribute of these data centers. Remember, the various businesses we offer services to, they are in different localities. For them to reach the data center, we have a carrier-neutral approach where we work with different partners that interconnect our customers into our data center. So connectedness is quite critical. Beyond that as well, as a data center, we go beyond the technical capabilities. We adopt international best practices. Data centers are critical businesses that offer services that are beyond the borders of Zambia. And we tap into international best practices to ensure that we run the facilities according to world's renowned best practices. Talk of information security management, we have to rely on international best practices through the ISO 27001 to ensure that we meet the data security standards, the data privacy needs of our customers. There are also international best practices on service availability, on data center availability, and that's where we've actually gone ahead to even certify with the Uptime Institute of the United States of America so that our facility meets the 99.982% Tier 3 standard. Data center services can be consumed from outside our borders. As you know, digital technologies are borderless. Today, there are data protection laws on where you must host your critical workloads, and as Infratel Data Center, we offer businesses basically an easy way to have legal and regulatory compliancy to data privacy, to data protection laws. Today, when we talk of emerging technologies, we are talking of edge computing. And what that has done is that workloads are to be placed near where the users are, near where data is generated. Today, for businesses that host workloads outside Zambia, there are a lot of risks that come with that. Unpredictable network disruptions that could happen beyond the Zambian borders. For businesses hosting services within Zambia, they will not suffer those network disruptions that affect other countries. Their workloads will be here in Zambia. And by the way, even latency is a factor of distance. So if the workloads are here in Zambia, it means the latency is not as prone as it would be for workloads that are beyond Zambia. So yes, through the Infratel data centers locally, hosted here in Zambia, we provide a service that is as efficient as could be from anywhere, with the added advantages that we have spoken into.
Financial alternatives are what is making up our corporate news, and coming up we get to hear how BETUZ is making sure that its members are maximizing the alternatives that they are offering in regards to making sure that money is coming through from all avenues apart from education. What else are they doing? They're going to open something that's very interesting very soon. Let's hear from their Secretary General in regards to what they're doing in making sure that there's other income generating alternatives.
It's very important that unions and other institutions like ours should strive to have the financial independence, so that they no longer depend on membership subscriptions. Yes, but the way our constitutions, the way the law is crafted, is that we are non-profit making institutions. We are service organizations. But even though we are service organizations, it's important that we think outside the box by embracing entrepreneurial activities which would make our unions to be self-reliant financially. I think as BETUZ we are moving that direction, so that we can have a stream of income, which would also help our members who may be financially stressed. And next month we'll be launching the BETUZ Financial Services. We are glad to mention to our members across the country that we have some certification, and we are starting next. We'll be launching BFS. So the BETUZ Financial Services is an institution which will be offering loans, affordable loans, with reasonable interest rates to all our members. And in a small way, we are starting next month. Everything is almost set. We are working on every detail to ensure that we kickstart the BFS. For us, it's one way of trying to provide a service rather than our core mandate, which is provided for in our Industrial and Labour Relations Act. We would want also to go beyond that and ensure that we don't rely on membership subscriptions only. It's not one of our core businesses, but I think in this dynamic world, in this fast changing world, it's important that unions also think beyond what their core mandate is. Right. So that they make themselves relevant to their members. Because members have a lot of financial issues, and going by their subscriptions only, you cannot afford to adequately attend to their financial challenges. Therefore, we must be able to ensure that we come up with the initiatives to actually speak to that very fact of diversifying, so to say. Okay. Yeah, you move away from over dependence on subscriptions. Right. You create your own wealth. You also help the members to create their own wealth by floating shares to them.
All right, that is a wrap. That's where we end Strictly Business for today. Join us next week at the same time for more information when it comes to the world of business and Zambia's economy right here. On behalf of the entire production crew, my name is Judy Ngulube.